After the recent stat rebalancing update, a lot of Pokemon had their attack stats changed, and my original video on the best attackers of each type is no longer relevant, so it's time to update that. I spent a lot of time with this spreadsheet doing a lot of math today to figure out which Pokemon are the best attackers after the update of November 21st. That's my birthday, how could I ever forget that? Before we go into specific types, I just want to go over the overall best attackers list to give you an idea of which Pokemon are the strongest after the update. So I'm just going to read you the top 20 or so. Number 1 is Dragonite with Dragon Breath and Dragon Claw. Number 2, Alakazam with Psycho Cut and Psychic, followed by Dragonite with Dragon Breath Hyper Beam, Dragonite with Dragon Breath Dragon Pulse, Gengar with Shadow Claw Sludge Bomb, Gengar with Sucker Punch Sludge Bomb, Arcanine with Fire Fang Fire Blast, Starmie with Water Gun Hydro Pump, Exeggutor with Zen Headbutt Solar Beam, Omastar with Water Gun Hydro Pump, Charizard with Wing Attack Fire Blast, Alakazam with Confusion Psychic, Gengar with Shadow Claw and Sludge Wave, which is a legacy moveset. Gengar no longer learns Sludge Wave, Vaporeon with Water Gun Hydro Pump, Arcanine with Bite Fire Blast, Flareon with Ember Fire Blast, Gyarados with Bite Hydro Pump, Gyarados with Dragon Breath Hydro Pump, again a legacy moveset, Gyarados doesn't learn Dragon Breath anymore, Golem with Mudshot Earthquake, another legacy moveset, Golem doesn't learn Mudshot, and Starmie with Water Gun Psychic. So those are the top 20 attackers as of now. I'll put the link for the full spreadsheet in the description so you can check that out if you want to see how every Pokemon ranks after these recent stat changes. I guess now would be a good time to explain how I did these calculations. I calculated the Pokemon's damage per second, or DPS, based on using their quick attack enough times to fill up their charge bar to use their charge attack, and counted that as a full cycle. So I calculated how many quick attacks it takes to fill the charge bar, and then calculated the damage for that full set, that many quick attacks plus the charge attack, divided by the time it takes to do all that, and that gives you the damage per second of the full cycle. I also calculated the damage per second of only using the quick attack because some Pokemon are stronger that way. Some charge attacks are weak compared to a Pokemon's quick attack, so sometimes it's a better strategy to only use that quick attack, and the spreadsheet does denote that. There are two columns for DPS. There's full cycle DPS, that's using quick attack and charge attack, and then there's quick only DPS, and of those two columns, the one that's highlighted green is the one that deals more damage per second. So these rankings are based on a Pokemon's sustained damage per second. That means no dodging, just using your attacks as fast as possible. The calculations for each attack's damage were done using that Pokemon's base attack stat compared to the average base defense stat, that's 150. So these numbers could change slightly as the defending Pokemon's defense stat goes up or down. Also keep in mind, some Pokemon will faint mid-cycle, meaning you're not going to use all your quick attacks and your charge attack to defeat it. You might do the full cycle a couple times and then only use 2 or 3 more quick attacks to finish it off. In that case, the DPS would also change, but it's way too much work to calculate that for every single possible scenario. So again, these rankings are based on sustained DPS and might change slightly depending on which Pokemon you're actually fighting against. So with all that explained, let's get into the best attackers of each type. For this, I'm looking at Pokemon with 2 moves of the same type, or at least 1 quick move of that type, to tell you which Pokemon deal the most damage in that type. As I've said many times before, I like to have 2 moves of the same type on my Pokemon, because then both of those moves deal super effective damage to the same Pokemon. Starting with Normal, which actually doesn't deal super effective damage to any type, Wigglytuff with Pound and Hyper Beam is the best attacker. Following that is Jinx using only Pound, and then Tauros using Tackle and Horn Attack. And for each moveset below the first, I'm going to list a percentage, and that tells you how much damage that moveset deals compared to the best moveset of that type. So for Normal, you can see that Jinx using Pound only deals 94.5% of the damage that Wigglytuff deals using Pound and Hyper Beam, and Tauros deals 78.8% of that damage. I'll cut it off there because Normal really isn't that important. In most cases, you're probably better off using a different type because Normal is only going to deal neutral damage at best, and other types would benefit from dealing super effective damage to the Pokemon that you're attacking. Among fire types, Arcanine with Fire Fang and Fire Blast is still the strongest, but Flareon has moved into the number 2 spot, with Ember and Fire Blast dealing 97.4% of that damage. Below that is Arcanine with Fire Fang and Flamethrower, followed by Flareon with Ember and Flamethrower, Flareon again with Ember and Heat Wave, and rounding out the top 6 is Charizard with Ember and Fire Blast. Outside of the top 6, we have Charizard with Ember and Flamethrower, followed by Rapidash with Ember and Fire Blast, and then Magmar with Ember and Fire Blast. For some types, I might mention more Pokemon than are listed here on the screen, but this information is all in the spreadsheet, again in the description. There are 2 tabs, one for overall rankings, and one that ranks Pokemon by type. So if you want to see an extended list of best attackers for each type, check out the spreadsheet in the description. The rankings for water types looks pretty different. Previously, Starmie and Golduck had the same attack stat, and they were tied for first place among water types. But after the changes, Starmie got buffed, and Golduck got nerfed, so Starmie now holds the top spot alone with Water Gun and Hydro Pump. Just below that, at 99.4%, is Omastar with Water Gun and Hydro Pump, followed by Vaporeon, still within 2%, with Water Gun and Hydro Pump. Now keep in mind, Vaporeon does have better defensive stats than either Omastar or Starmie, so it's going to survive longer, and that means it's going to deal more damage over the course of its lifetime than Starmie or Omastar would. But again, we're just looking at offense here, so we're ranking these Pokemon by offensive DPS only. To round out our top water-type attackers, we have Vaporeon with Water Gun and Aqua Tail, Golduck with Water Gun Hydro Pump, Seadra with Water Gun Hydro Pump, Blastoise with Water Gun Hydro Pump, and Poliwrath with Bubble and Hydro Pump. Jolteon finally got the buff that it deserved to move to the top spot among electric types, with Thundershock and Thunder. Following that is Jolteon with Thundershock and Thunderbolt, Electabuzz with Thundershock and Thunder, Raichu with Thundershock and Thunder, Raichu with Spark and Thunder, and Electabuzz with Thundershock and Thunderbolt. To give you an idea of where other electric types rank, the next strongest electric type attacker is Magneton with Spark and Discharge, followed by Electabuzz with Thundershock and Thunder Punch, and then Electrode with Spark and Thunderbolt. Among grass types, Victreebel and Vileplume both got nerfed, Venusaur's attack stat stayed the same, and Tangela got a significant buff. So at the top is still Venusaur with Vine Whip and Solar Beam, but it's immediately followed by Tangela with Vine Whip and Solar Beam. After that is Victreebel with Razor Leaf and Solar Beam, Vileplume with Razor Leaf and Solar Beam, Venusaur with Vine Whip and Petal Blizzard, Venusaur with Razor Leaf and Solar Beam, Vileplume with Razor Leaf and Petal Blizzard, and Tangela with Vine Whip and Power Whip. For ice types, Jinx got a huge buff and it moves to the top of the list with Frost Breath and Ice Punch. Tied for second with the same attack stat are Cloyster with Frost Breath and Blizzard, and Lapras with Frost Breath and Blizzard. And just like Vaporeon, Lapras does have much better defensive stats, which means it's going to deal more damage before it faints. So it is actually the best overall ice type, but offensively speaking, Jinx deals the most damage per second. After that we have another tie, Cloyster and Lapras both with Ice Shard and Blizzard, followed by Lapras with Frost Breath and Ice Beam, Lapras with Ice Shard and Ice Beam, and Dugong with Frost Breath and Blizzard. Fighting got a huge shakeup, and Machamp is no longer the best fighting type attacker. Hitmonlee now holds the top 2 spots with Rock Smash Brick Break and Low Kick Brick Break. Following that is Primeape with Low Kick and Cross Chop, then Hitmonlee with Rock Smash and Low Sweep, finally Machamp with Karate Chop Cross Chop, and rounding out the top 6 is Hitmonchan with Rock Smash and Brick Break. So even though Machamp has the highest attack stat among fighting types, it just goes to show that it's totally handicapped by Karate Chop because it has such low DPS. So Niantic, you've done a great job with this stat rebalance, but I think we might need to start looking at rebalancing attacks next. For poison types, Nidoking with Poison Jab and Sludge Wave is the best, followed by Victreebel with Acid and Sludge Bomb, Muck with Poison Jab Gunk Shot, followed by Muck, Nidoqueen, and then Beedrill, all with Poison Jab Sludge Wave. And at number 7 and 8, we have Weepinbell with Acid Sludge Bomb, and Tentacruel with Poison Jab Sludge Wave. For ground types, Golem with Mud Shot and Earthquake is still the strongest, but that's a legacy moveset, that's something that's not obtainable in the game anymore. So among movesets that are obtainable in the game, Rhydon with Mud Slap and Earthquake is the strongest. After that is Golem with Mud Slap Earthquake, Sandslash with Mud Shot Earthquake, Dugtrio with Mud Shot Earthquake, again a legacy moveset, and then Dugtrio with Mud Slap and and Earthquake. For flying types, Pidgeot has actually lost its top spot. The strongest flying type attacker is now Charizard using Wing Attack only. Pidgeot with Wing Attack and Hurricane comes in second place, followed by Pidgeot using only Wing Attack, and then Golbat using only Wing Attack. And those last two are tied here, but Pidgeot's attack stat is slightly higher than Golbat's, so as the defense of the Pokemon you're attacking changes, Pidgeot could be ranked slightly higher than Golbat. Alakazam is finally the strongest non-legendary Psychic-type Pokemon, just as it was intended to be. Alakazam with Psycho Cut and Psychic is by far the strongest Psychic-type attacker. With its massive attack stat, Alakazam also takes second place with Confusion and Psychic, and third place with Psycho Cut only. After that is the former number 1 Exeggutor with Zen Headbutt and Psychic, followed by Confusion and Psychic. Then we have Mr. Mime with Zen Headbutt Psychic, Mr. Mime with Confusion Psychic, and Slowbro with Confusion and Psychic. For Bug-type attackers, Scyther with Fury Cutter and Bug Buzz is the strongest, followed by Pinsir with Fury Cutter and X-Scissor. But remember, if you're using Bug types against Exeggutor, X-Scissor is preferred over Bug Buzz because you can safely use X-Scissor between Exeggutor's attacks, even between its quick attacks, Confusion, or Zen Headbutt. So you'll actually take less damage using X-Scissor than you would using Bug Buzz. Continuing down the list, we have Venomoth with Bug Bite Bug Buzz, Scyther with Fury Cutter X-Scissor, Butterfree with Bug Bite Bug Buzz, Nidoking with Fury Cutter Megahorn, Beedrill with Bug Bite X-Scissor, and my favorite bug has dropped all the way to number 8, Parasect with Bug Bite and X-Scissor. The rankings for rock types haven't changed at all. Golem is still alone at the top with Rock Throw and Stone Edge. Following that is Omastar with a legacy moveset. It can't learn Rock Throw anymore, but the second best rock type attacker is Omastar with Rock Throw and Rock Slide. Below that is Graveler, not fully evolved, with Rock Throw and Stone Edge, followed by Graveler with Rock Throw and Rock Slide. There's only one Ghost-type family in first generation, so it's no surprise that Gengar, especially after its huge attack buff, comes in at number 1 with Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball. In second place is Gengar using only Shadow Claw, followed by Haunter using only Shadow Claw. Just like Ghost, there's only one Dragon-type family in first generation, so Dragonite with Dragon Breath and Dragon Claw is the best overall Dragon-type attacker. After that is Dragonite with Dragon Breath and Dragon Pulse, followed by Dragonite using Dragon Breath only, but in that case you're going to have Hyper Beam as a charge move, and you're probably better off just using Hyper Beam anyway, even if it's not dealing super effective damage. There are a few other Pokemon that learn Dragon-type moves, but you can see that they're a lot weaker than Dragonite. Gyarados can learn 2 Dragon-type moves, but Dragon Breath is a legacy move. It doesn't learn that anymore, but it does come in 4th place with Dragon Breath and Dragon Pulse, followed by Seadra with the same moveset, Dragon Breath and Dragon Pulse. There are no Dark-type Pokemon in first generation, so no Pokemon is going to have a Dark-type move that benefits from Stab, but among Pokemon who can learn Dark-type moves, Gengar is finally the strongest, with Sucker Punch and Dark Pulse. All tied for second are Gyarados, Arcanine, and Aerodactyl, just using Bite. These 3 Pokemon do have different attack stats, but against a Pokemon with 150 base defense, the damage works out exactly the same. They are listed in order of their attack stats, so as that defense changes, Gyarados would be the best, Arcanine is second, and Aerodactyl would be third. And to round out our top 5 and actually give Dodrio some kind of accolade for something, Dodrio with Feint Attack is the 5th best Dark-type attacker. For Steel-type attackers, Kingler finally has something it can be proud of. Kingler using only Metal Claw is the strongest Steel-type attacker in Pokemon GO. It's followed immediately by Dragonite using only Steel Wing, then Aerodactyl, Scyther, and Dodrio all using only Steel Wing, and rounding out the top 6 is Sandslash using only Metal Claw. The final type is Fairy, and Fairy is interesting because there are no Fairy-type quick attacks in Pokemon GO. So we're looking at Pokemon who learn Fairy-type charge attacks only. At the top of the list is Clefable with Pound and Moonblast. And again, since these Pokemon don't have Fairy-type quick moves, I'm comparing their full cycle DPS, which includes their quick attack damage that is not Fairy-type. So after Clefable, we have Wigglytuff with Pound and Play Rough, Vileplume with Razor Leaf and Moonblast, Vileplume with Acid and Moonblast, Clefable with Zen Headbutt Moonblast, Wigglytuff with Feint Attack Moonblast, and Persian with Scratch and Play Rough. So that's it. Those are the new best attackers overall and for each type in Pokemon GO. Remember, the full spreadsheet is in the description, so make sure you check out that link if you want to see the full rankings. Also, just as a reminder, the Double XP and Double Stardust event is ending pretty soon after this video goes live, so by the time you're watching this, you probably only have a couple hours of the event left. So make sure you get out, take full advantage, catch as many Pokemon as you can, because if you have any of these new best attackers, you're probably going to want to use your Stardust to power them up. Tomorrow's my busy day, so I won't be shooting. I'll be editing the rest of the Japan footage, so stay tuned for that. And a Best Defenders updated list will be coming later this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow.